I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Review and approval of minutes. Are there minutes from the last meeting? Or is it just the packets that we have?
They posted, the transcript is posted on the
So
website
that's-
from, and I'm recording again today with the transcript.
So we'll go forward with old business.
So we will start. So we will start with the policy manual update, and this is the policies that are up for elimination for this month. First is the curriculum guides and course outline. Hasn't been updated since 1998. It's been consolidated into another policy that we'll actually be looking at later on today. And then the IGCE, early college dual and concurrent enrollment policy. Again, this one actually was a suggestion to consolidate it with the advanced honors program and advanced college placement. They were both in the same realm, and instead of having two separate policies, which was confusing, to consolidate them into one, which was a much better idea. So that one's up for elimination. Then under section J, we have student policy goals, JA. We've been doing this all along. Those are goals that should be in our district strategic plan. JECD, assignment of students to classes. It's not needed. We haven't touched it since 1980. Truancy, it's now included in the attendance policy, and that particular one we haven't touched since 1999. Students' attendance accounting, it's not needed. Again, we haven't touched that one since 1980. Students' rights and responsibilities, that's included in the code of conduct. It's actually the code of ethics. So it's not necessary to have it here. And it's out of date what we have written here. The secret societies, there's no date nor the student complaints and grievances. It's just the referral to the general laws. And as we've done all along, any policy that doesn't say anything, that just refers to the general laws, we're eliminating. And before I leave, we'll have a sheet that has links to all the general laws, so people can look them up.
Well, there is no description whatsoever.
No,
As to what a
no.
secret society
No,
is. Okay. Interesting. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Dead Poet Society.
Student welfare is included in the mandatory reporting policy, so we don't need that. The student insurance program, we no longer offer insurance to families, so we don't need that one anymore. Student health services and requirements, that's included in the health and wellness policy, so we can eliminate that. The physical examination and immunization is also included in health and wellness, so we can eliminate that. Psychological services policy is not needed, and social services, again, that policy is really not necessary. It's all inclusive in the health and wellness policy. The next two are, again, not dated and just refer to the general laws of Rhode Island. And then we get into the section K, the parental access to aids and health education curricula. All of our curricula is online, so we don't need a separate policy for parents to have access to curricula News releases is contained in policy KBC. Smoking on premises, the information is included in two other policies, under students and under, staff. And then advertising questionnaires, that's also included in JRAAB. So again, we eliminate some paper and yet it's still being addressed in other policies. And so that's our eliminated policies for this month. Any questions on that?
Are all the other policies that they are a part of, have those been updated recently, or some of those old as well that we need to take a look at?
If they haven't been, they are going to be,
Okay.
because I'm working on the J's right now.
Yep.
So we have, next month, it's going to be like all J's.
Oh, perfect, okay.
I'm working on J's right now. So the month of June is a lot. I already have 12, 18, and so yeah.
Okay, good.
June's done. We're now working on August, okay?
Thank you.
I won't be here, but August is going to be taken care of. All right, so, old business, we came back to, the staff gifts and solicitations. This was up for first read, but there were some, points made and concerns raised. And so I took it back and, added language, particularly around the Sunshine Club. That was one area that was brought up. And so in the, let's see, under solicitations, fourth paragraph, I said, the solicitation of money from staff for group gifts should be limited to circumstances such as serious illness, bereavement, disasters, and mementos at retirement. This can be in the form of an annual donation to a Sunshine Club not to exceed $25 per person. Is that a reasonable amount for Sunshine Club? What's a reasonable amount?
Well,
I was thinking maybe
Yeah.
40.
I think because at the high school, it's such a big school, $25 was reasonable. But at the elementary schools where the sounds.
So make it not to exceed $50? Okay,
Sure.
so not to exceed $50.
We've got some schools right now, and I don't even think we have one going until it's.
A parent raised a question to Lynn about, I think it was to Lynn, about, they saw this, policy and was concerned about the limit of $25 for a gift to a teacher. Do you think $25 is a reasonable amount for a gift, or do you think it should be raised to, no more than $50?
I mean, with the price, $25 is kind of like almost nothing nowadays.
I think parents need to give any gifts at all, other
I
than.
mean,
Agreed,
but if somebody wants to give,
$40.
the relationship between the parent and the teacher, if they want to be generous, and I don't see any reason to stop that.
It just gets awkward when you're actually, I don't know, because a lot of kids whose parents can't give anything, they would love to give something, but can't give anything. You have somebody giving, $100.
Well, that's the
Well,
whole
would they
thing.
always know
If
that?
you want to limit it, again, if we're doing Sunshine at 50, maybe do a parent gift
Yeah.
at 50.
Yeah, I mean, most teachers don't show the whole class what they're getting either. It's very personal. What do you think?
And at the high school, we don't get gifts.
No, you don't.
Let me tell you, in the elementary, we don't as well.
Well, Jack,
Yeah, so for me, I think that the policy's kind of taken a two-pronged approach here. I think in the spirit, and I could be wrong, but the spirit of the policy initially was in line with the ethics ruling in the state that says anybody that's getting paid by the school department can't take a gift larger than $25 from a vendor
Right.
or from, and the reason why parents gift is because then is it perceived as buying a better grade, right? So it just like is it perceived as buying, like when we did the Draconic camera system, I was cautious that like, yeah, I got a hat, but they even offered, hey, would you like $100 gift card? I said, no, I can't take it. So that's the spirit of the policy. Then the policy starts getting into donations with, because there's times when families had a fire and they've lost everything. I donated $100, because I felt like I could and I could help. Now, according to this policy, I'm not going to be able to give 25. And so I think the policy isn't to govern what we as professionals give to our families and our colleagues and our GoFundMes and stuff like that. And I think the initial spirit of the policy was just not to be in a compromised situation because then it would buy us off. I think that's the difference there. And I think it's kind of going down
That's good.
a little bit too much
That's a good point.
legislation.
That's a good one.
I think the other point that you made about like people not feeling pressured to give kids specific like special treatment or grades from teachers because their parent has been super generous is like
So
that could happen. So I think it's like putting a limit is important because of that.
With the limit from people to us as elected officials and or school employees makes sense, but to limit our generosity out to children and families in the community isn't, that doesn't make sense to me.
so then we can take out not to exceed $50 a person for the Sunshine Club, just say, can be limited to solicitation of money from staff for group gifts. Can be limited to can be in the form of an annual donation to the Sunshine Club.
Period.
But it could be a special collection too.
Well, there is another one.
There is an
There's
exemption
GoFundMe.
for any kind of
There is
crisis.
solicitation such as a GoFundMe or donor's choice for special circumstances for staff or students must be pre-approved by the building principal and shared with the superintendent. If being held within the school, if solicitation is going to be district-wide, must be pre-approved by the superintendent. GoFundMe effort should be limited to the immediate family of staff and students. So it has no,
There's no limit, it's just us distributing the information, that's all.
Maybe
and
word
then,
GoFundMe, I think the spirit is things like that, but it's also been just direct collections. Like it's possible to collect, money for a family without going through a GoFundMe page. So you just want to word it, I think, in a way that those are examples, but it could be just, a colleague taking the charge to raise money for a family in
We
need.
address down days and things like that.
Yes.
There's an envelope in the office and people go in and just put.
Yeah,
and
any
that was,
collection.
this was just an example, so it says such as.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can include a but not limited to somewhere in here.
Yeah, including but not limited to.
Yes.
Solicitations such as.
Because of the holidays, we have giving trees and all that, where we buy gifts for kids. and-
Turkey, we do that, turkey baskets
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving.
Yep, the food drives.
And you're right, we don't want to limit somebody's generosity.
Okay. And then the last sentence, Dave Testa wanted language around political candidates soliciting funds on school grounds. And so I added that sentence, no political candidate, whether running for school committee or any other Rhode Island office shall solicit funds from students, families, or staff, nor distribute campaign flyers while on school grounds.
We had that.
Yeah, we put that was on
I
the
felt if you wanted it in here.
Okay.
As I said, it was in other policies, but since we were talking
No,
about
that makes sense.
trying to get money, I just put it in, it's just a simple sentence in there.
I think that other policy, we had the signage mentioned too,
Yes.
because
Right,
we had an open house at Tollgate where a candidate who shall remain nameless put her signs all the way up the.
Yeah, it's gotta be 50 feet or something, or 50 yards.
yeah,
This was
so many,
all the way up, leading right up to the door of the school.
I'm sure.
Michelle, you have a question?
That brought up, so the first one, is this one of the lines too, where all the elementary schools are doing color fun runs, and we're asking students to raise pledges and stuff like that? So is there a blurred line?
So the exemption, the PTO.
isn't it?
but it gets sent through the school. I just wanna make sure that we're not like, learning those last two.
Well-
That's a big, those are important.
Fundraising at elementary school is all the time.
So this
Yeah.
is time given to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanna
There's
make
a
sure
separate,
that's not the same.
yeah, there's a separate
yeah,
policy.
there's a separate policy.
Yeah.
There's
There is a
separate-
policy on
There is a
that.
separate policy on that.
We'll combine those at some point.
Right, so I just wanna- this doesn't touch on that stuff, right?
No.
Right. All right, all good on that one? All right. And now, I'm not gonna go in, and I'll pull it up just so you can see it. But the reason I put in the family and medical leave policy is that we already went through this and said we were good with it, but I forgot to put it on last month's agenda for a first read. And it will go on this month's agenda for a first read. And so I did not want it to be a surprise on the agenda and everybody say, well, wait a minute, we didn't look at this. So I'm putting it
Yeah, we
on
just needed
to let you know that it's gonna go on to the first read next week, because I forgot somehow it didn't get put on last month. And Brandon, you've had a chance to look through it, and if you have any comments to make, it's been through legal, it's been through Brandon, it's been through, HR, it's been through everybody who needed to really look at it closely, and everybody was okay with it.
Okay, before it goes to the first read, are we gonna add the legal references? Because that's fine.
She did not have any legal references, so they're not put in there. There are none. Well, that's interesting.
It's strange.
But I will,
We should have the legal references, right?
I'll
There should be
contact-
state and federal legal.
I'll contact
references
you
on-
and ask her if there are any legal references to add to it. She reviewed it, and she normally would put those in.
Yeah, but I mean, this is family medical leave. This is a state and federal. There's gotta be some legal references
Yeah. I'm sure that-
and contracts.
Yeah. All right. Now we're on to the new stuff. Policy development. So, when I was looking through the, policy manual under the section B, there were like 4 different policies on policy development. There was one on formulating policy, there was one on presenting policy, there was one on approving policy. There was like 4 or 5 different policies on policy. So the next month's elimination, there's gonna be like 4 different eliminated policies on policy. And I, put them all together under one, that there talks about the formulation of policies, that they can be written by members of the school committee or administrative staff when designated by the committee. They'll be encompassing enough to nature to govern operations, but broad enough to leave room for the superintendent to put policies in effect. They'll be submitted in writing to the members of the school committee, a week in advance of the meeting. The proposed policy shall be subject to adoption only after discussion at a meeting followed by majority vote. At a second meeting, which the policy is being submitted in writing. So that's, the 2 meetings. Second reading. They'll be subject to amendment or elimination upon amendment of all the members, in which the proposed amendment's been described in writing and has been discussed. Policies for elimination and or review require a single review and discussion. Adopted written policy shall be uploaded into the electronic policy manual by a designated school department member. Electronic copies of all approved policies shall be distributed to school secretaries, principals, central office staff, and school committee members within 1 week of the adoption. Shall be available to the public on the district's website. Policy shall remain in effect until amended or eliminated. They'll be recorded in the minutes of the school committee. Only those written statements so adopted and so recorded shall be regarded as official school committee policy. A policy committee with 2 school committee members, school administrator, central office staff, community members, and students will meet as deemed necessary for the review and appraisal of existing committee policies.
I have a question.
Yep.
Why wouldn't the electronic copy be made available to all school employees? Why eliminate teachers, TAs, custodians?
They can get that on the website.
Well, why do we have to wait a week till it's available to the public? As long as you're emailing it electronically, it's very easy to include all the school areas so all the employees can see it. If you're sending an electronic copy to secretaries, principals, central office staff, and school committee members, it's very easy to include all the school areas so everybody in the district can see it.
That touches on what you said earlier, Lynn.
Yeah.
So I feel like we pass policies and no one knows about them.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like
So
a
whoever-
principal's meeting, principal should.
Whoever's doing this needs access to school areas. I personally, I don't have rights to.
Right, but these policies need to be discussed, because I don't know, people aren't going in and reading all these policies.
Correct.
And so they don't know half of them, and some of them, there's one about employees, if something happens, they have to notify HR within 24 hours. Well, we've had that recently, and they didn't know.
Because there are a lot of policies.
Right, so they.
Very hard to
Because we've
access.
done such a big overhaul of this manual, it might be something that goes on the summer agenda to figure out a plan for updating everybody on all the, because some of these changes are minimal.
Yeah, the minimum ones, but when you
But
change.
there's some that are more substantive.
Yeah.
That you probably do wanna make
Even-
people aware of.
Even the gift, the one we just read.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's hard to choose though, which are important and which are not, because you might not think of that one thing that's important to somebody. Everybody should be updated on
On
I
everything.
agree, on everything. There's no reason why some people should get it and some people
Correct.
not.
So I just added the word school areas in. That should take care of it. Anything else?
All,
on this one?
all school areas?
What is it, school areas?
And the
Okay.
employee area, the
Yeah,
school
I mean,
areas.
there's a TA area, but that's not all wise numbers, that's not everybody.
Does the
you know what I
employee
mean?
area
Like the
cover
TAs
everybody?
have an area, there's about 250 of us, but
The school areas.
Yeah.
cover
Custodians.
everybody.
Okay. they are, the custodians, okay, we've got school secretaries on.
The areas, yeah.
And I have a question about the last.
Yes.
Sentence too, because we've
We're
got
eliminated.
2 school committee members, school administrators, central office staff, community members, and students. We don't have.
Two union
Yeah.
representatives.
Correct.
Correct, that was my,
Y's and WTU
yes.
representatives.
That's why I have you look at these. That's exactly right.
Okay, so just clarify for me, where in here it says that after, if school committee, if they're writing the policies, where it comes down to the policy committee to review before it then goes back to be read and is that happening or is this different? I don't see
Well,
policy
it's saying-
committee on here anywhere, but at
Yes.
the very end.
No, in the first sentence. Members, may be written by members of the school committee or members of the staff who are designated by the committee.
Okay, so by the committee, you mean by the policy committee?
Right.
Or by the school committee? Okay, can we just add policy just so it's clarified? Because it sounded like the school committee and the committee were the same. Just wanna-
Because generally, this committee is not writing the policy. People are coming in to this committee with proposed changes to policies.
Yeah, I just
And
wanted to make sure
we-
we were reviewing it somewhere
Yes.
in here. Because I didn't see that title anywhere in this document, other than the last sentence.
Reviewed by members of this committee,
Okay,
not written by members.
let's say all proposed policies must be reviewed by the policy
Prior to submitting
prior
to the school committee for a vote.
to submitting to the school committee.
This committee just sort of got wiped out in this. Thank you.
Anything else on this one? All right. School year calendar. There's already a change in this one, which Lynn may be aware of. I've added language out of the, contract that says, and that at the end of the first paragraph, sentence, after it says the superintendent shall submit a proposed calendar to school committee members, then there'll be a sentence that says, when preparing the school calendar for consideration, to the school committee, the president of the union,
Both unions.
Teachers union.
or designee will be invited to consult with the superintendent.
Not both union presidents, no? I mean, we have language too, as far as,
I'm not sure it's in your
Mhm.
contract, but
well, there's a whole long list of like holidays, paid holidays, so, I mean, that is in our contract, correct?
So I'll add rise as well.
Thank you.
And then the last sentence, I'll add rise as well. In the event that the school calendar is revised by the school committee, the superintendent will invite the president of the union or designee to consult before such revision is made. That's straight out of the contract.
page 24.
Anything else? Take care of that one. It's very close.
All right, so we're gonna just add both unions, correct? Thank you for that.
All right, that one is easy. Curriculum development. All right, so this is where we, put some of the other, some of that, eliminated policy in here. Warwick School Committee recognizes that the Warwick Public Schools curriculum provides the foundation of the district's educational program and ensures that students, regardless of the schools they attend, receive a dynamic and educational program that nurtures their cognitive, social, emotional well-being and affirms their identity and experience in order to maximize each student's individual potential. Instruction is based on the same curriculum standards, and students are expected to achieve consistently at high levels of performance. The school committee further recognizes the need and value of a systemic ongoing program of curriculum review and development. The rest is already in there, and then we say each curriculum shall be developed to meet or exceed state content standards that have been adopted by the Council on Elementary and Secondary Education. In the absence of state adopted standards in the content area, the district shall align its curriculum to national content standards specific to that content area. The district shall formally adopt a set of curriculum documents that specify content standards, instructional practices, materials, program texts, assessments, and grading practices that are based on the